Hello again everybody, hope you're all doing well. So today I wanted to show you guys this nice little classic that I've had in the workshop recently. So this isn't going to be a review, it's just going to be a look around the bike. I'll start her up and tell you a little bit about her history because it's quite interesting. So what we have here is a 1957 Jawa 550. Now you'll notice that I say Jawa, and that's because a lot of people will see this brand and pronounce it as Jawa. Now Jawa was originally a Czech company, and this bike in fact was made back in 1957, which is when the Czech Republic and Slovakia were one country and known as Czechoslovakia. And in the Czech language, the letter J is pronounced Y, same as we pronounce Y in the English language. So the correct saying is Jawa, not Jawa. So yeah, here we have a Jawa 550. Of course, it's not 550cc, that's the model number. It is in fact a 49cc single cylinder two-stroke, which you can see poking out the bottom just there. And it was made back around, 1957. It was, a good 10 years after the Second World War. But this was made for the same reason that the Vespas were made. So back in Italy, Piaggio came up with the Vespa as a way partly to get their factory back into operation after the war, but also they wanted to create a cheap form of transport for the people. And so they created the Vespa. And about 10 years later, in actually 1955, the first one of these came out. The Jawa company came out with this. There were various different models. So this is the 550, which is a single seat version, only for one person. There was the 555, which had a longer tail and two seats. And then later, loads of other models, such as the Pioneer and various other things. And this really is the bare minimum of what a motorcycle can be. Well, I say motorcycle, moped. It's quite difficult to define, simply because a moped is usually defined as a small capacity, usually 49cc motorized bicycle, which comes out of the factory with pedals, hence moped, motorized pedal bike. This never had pedals. This came out of the factory as like this, so no pedals were fitted from the factory, which means, I suppose, technically it classes as a motorcycle, as minuscule as it is. Let's have a look around. When I say bare minimum, this really is bare minimum. So the two-stroke engine only produces 1.6 horsepower. Now, to put that into perspective, the two-seater model produced about 3.5. Most more modern, say like mid 2000 two-stroke 50cc scooters produce about 3.5-4 horsepower in their restricted form, and can produce upwards of 6 horsepower when they're de-restricted without any performance tuning necessarily. So this little engine only producing 1.6 is really tiny, but it's enough to get you going, even if it is only about 25 miles an hour. Now, obviously, as far as equipment is concerned, it doesn't have much. We have on the left hand side here the horn, which you can see just down here. We have a switch which operates the high and low beam headlight, and obviously our throttle, and that is literally it. This switch here operates our ignition, so currently it's off. That's the on position, and this is the on position with lights. There are two lights on the bike. The first is the headlight, and the second being obviously the tail light, but it does not have a brake light. So when you pull the brakes or put your foot on the brake, no light comes on, which is, by today's standards a bit sketchy, but back in those days, not an issue, because, let's be honest, this is just a motorized push bike, and its top speed is less than you could do pedaling a normal bike. So they obviously deemed a brake light to be unnecessary. In similar fashion, they also deemed it unnecessary to bother having a speedo, so you have literally no idea how fast you're going. But as I say, this came out with a top speed of 45 kilometers an hour, which is roughly 26 miles an hour, something like that. So even at top whack, you're never going fast enough to be breaking any speed limits, hence the no need for a speedometer. Quite interesting. Obviously, also there are no indicators. That's all done by hand signals. And that's literally all there is to it. It's a very, very beautiful, very simple design. We've got obviously the engine at the front here is air cooled, so as you're going along it's just being cooled by the air. Drum brakes front and back, surprisingly effective brakes for this thing, but then it does weigh basically nothing. You can pick this thing up and carry it around quite easily. So there you go. It's just so simple, but I just love it because these, especially once you start getting towards the 1960s, they started making their scooters very kind of boxy with like square headlights and stuff like that, kind of similar to what Vespa did in the 80s. I never really liked that very much. I love this kind of rounded styling and just generally how simple it is. So there's really nothing else to show you. Obviously this is the petrol tank, and that's pretty much all there is to it. But let's just have a little walk around because I just love these little bikes. I'm a real big fan of small little motorized bicycles, basically like this, that were designed just to be practical. You know, this was designed at a time when the economy wasn't doing too great. It was designed to be cheap to run, for people to be able to get to work and, you know, get the economy going again. And it's just got some class these days, I think. I know not everyone will agree. There's a lot of people out there that really don't like small bikes, and, you know, a lot of people that think that anything smaller than about 500cc isn't worth bothering with. But honestly, I'd love these things to bits. They're just amazing, especially when you think about the age of it. I mean, 1957, this thing was, I mean, Christ, it is this I was born in 80s. This was built 30 years before I was born. I mean, you know, and here's me today out sort of taking it for a test ride because I've actually just fixed this. It had starting issues. It had been in storage for a while, it wasn't starting, had no spark, so came into the workshop to be fixed, and we've got her going, got her cleaned up, and tomorrow she'll hopefully be going back to her owner, so all good. So as a last little thing, let's get her started so you can hear what she sounds like. Now I'll have to put you guys down a minute because to start these things, again, beautifully simple, like the carburetors, there are no adjustments whatsoever. There's no, you know, idle screw, no mixture screw, nothing. These come out of the factory preset and you don't touch anything. Such simple maintenance. To start them, there's actually down in here, there's a little, I would say, primer, which gets fuel flowing into the carburetor. And then this here is your choke, which, because the engine's already warm, I'm gonna leave out like that. And then it's kickstart, and of course if it doesn't work on the kickstart, you've got the option of bump starting it, because you know, that's always an option with manuals. Another quick thing before I do start it, I'll just show you this, if you guys can see this. You've got, like, you know, the Jawa sign up there, and yeah, you can't really see much of the information, and I doubt most of you will be able to read it because it's obviously in Czech anyway, but that's just the, you know, the label informing of, you can actually see right at the bottom there, you see that 1.6, yeah, and 1.6 at 5,000 RPM, that's the peak power. So there we go. Right, yes, let's get her started so you can hear the little beauty. Right, put you guys down a minute. And she's in the on position. She might take a few kicks because, oh, nearly. There she goes. Have our lights. Horn. Okay, so there we go, guys. Just shut her back off because I'm going to go for a little walk around this area, because I don't know if you guys can see this, but we're in a very beautiful area right now. Some very nice walks around here. But yeah, as I say, there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed having a look around this little bike with me, and hopefully just like me, you love these little beauties. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like. Go check out my other videos. I've got various, you know, bike reviews and mechanical bits and bobs, stuff like that. I've actually got my own little workshop now, so I'm gonna have some videos either already up or coming up soon in there. But yeah, go check those out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys again soon.